Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing today? I hope you're doing all right. And also, I hope you've had a great holidays last week. I personally had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I rested a lot. I slept a lot, and well, I desire that you have had a lot of in this case fun too, and that you've had some earthquakes, terremotos, some, and that you've danced some cueca, guaracha, or whatever you wanted to dance. And usted, Mateo. Bueno, actually, I sent you a couple of messages regarding, in this case, oh, thanks, Mateo. Regarding the face-to-face activities, right? Next week, I want to start, attending or going to El Peda. I want to go there on Tuesdays and Fridays. This is like apart from the online lessons, that we got en Spanish. Ustedes saben que ya tenemos un horario ya conformado. Los martes son asincrónicos, ¿cierto? Yo subo cápsulas y digamos actividades, y nos juntamos miércoles, digamos jueves, y miércoles jueves, ¿ya? Entonces, pero estas, digamos, actividades presenciales son completamente voluntarias, ¿ya? Yo voy a ir para allá porque quiero ir, ¿cierto? Porque necesito salir de aquí, si no me voy a volver loco. Necesito ir a un lugar de trabajo, ¿cierto? Y en ese aspecto voy a ir esos días que les indiqué, ya en los horarios que les indiqué en el mensaje de WhatsApp, y podemos reunirnos en formato de tutoría o en formato de atención de estudiantes, ¿cierto? O lecciones, digamos, que son cortas, grupales, de grupos pequeños, ¿ya? Grupos pequeños en el sentido de que por temas de aforo, digamos, las salas hay que revisar, digamos, cuáles son los aforos según sala, según metraje, ya guardando todas las medidas sanitarias y todo eso. Al tiro, Mateo, está dando el tiro. Y también podemos usar no solamente las salas, sino que podemos usar también el aire libre, depende de cómo esté el clima. Si está bonito, soleado, podemos utilizar las dependencias del campus, que es gigante, ¿ya? Y como acercarse afuera, ¿cierto? Llevar unas sillas, no sé. Ahí nos podemos ingeniar. Esa no es la primera vez ni la última vez que se han hecho clases afuera, digamos, en cualquiera de las dependencias del campus. Eso, Mateo, porfa.
Buenos días, profesor. Y yo no estoy en el grupo de WhatsApp, así que me acabo de enterar sobre esto. ¿Me podría explicar, no sé, qué días va a ir usted y todo eso? Por favor.
Ya, no hay problema. Sí, no hay problema. Déjame ver el mensaje que les mando. Ya, dice acá está. Los martes y viernes, desde las 11:30, pero bueno, creo que en la práctica yo tengo que hacer desde las 12:30 hasta las 6 p.m. Yo voy a estar en el campus, en el departamento de inglés. Ya, martes y viernes. Voy a estar haciendo pega administrativa. Vayan estudiantes o no, voy a estar allá trabajando. ¿Ya? Ahora, si ustedes desean organizarse como sección, como curso, ¿ya? Y quieren ir, digamos, para que yo les haga clase, como les digo, o sea, si son grupos pequeños, les puedo hacer clase en una sala, siempre y cuando la sala esté disponible. Ya hay más espacios en todo caso en el departamento, no sé si lo conocen o no, pero si no, sería una buena oportunidad para conocer el departamento. Digamos, un espacio que es como eh, compartido, el hoyo que le llaman, que básicamente un comedorcito que hay ahí, también se puede hacer clase, hay gente que se pone a estudiar ahí, o podemos estar fuera del departamento, podemos estar en los pastos de alrededor, ¿cierto? O sea, el campo es súper grande y bonito, entonces yo me conozco ese campo de memoria, entonces si son grupos más grandes, ponete más de 5 personas, si son 10 personas, y no se puede por aforo dentro del departamento, hacemos clase afuera, un grupo de 10 12 personas, nos sentamos en círculo, llevamos sillas, ¿cierto? Y hacemos una cátedra al aire libre, eso no hay problema. Obviamente no vamos a contar con los mismos implementos que dentro de una sala de clase, pero sí se puede hacer. Yo puedo preparar algo, digamos, de ese estilo. Ya, pero como les digo, esto es completamente voluntario. Yo no les estoy diciendo que vayan a clases conmigo, porque las clases, ¿cierto? Son online, ¿ya? Desde la próxima semana. Yo voy a empezar a ir de la próxima semana. Ya, el próximo martes yo voy a estar allá. Lo más probable es el martes, no tengo drama en estar a las 12:30. Igual yo les puedo avisar, nos coordinamos por WhatsApp. Por eso es importante, Mateo, que yo no te voy a obligar a estar en el grupo de WhatsApp, pero justamente o para las personas que no estén en el grupo de WhatsApp, no las voy a obligar a estar, pero sí es importante que mantengamos un contacto, ¿ya? Yo ocupo más el WhatsApp todo el día, de 8 a 8, ¿ya? El correo también lo veo. Si me mandan un correo, me dicen, profe, voy a ir, profe, no voy a ir, profe, ¿dónde está? También voy a revisar el correo. Pero es mucho más fácil y directo y ahorra tiempo el usar un medio de comunicación. Y el que veo siempre seguro es el WhatsApp, ¿ya? A veces no les contesto el mismo día, pero le contesto rápido, ¿ya? Eh, ya, sí, pues, agreguen al Mateo si es que alguien tiene el contacto, porque yo lo compartí en el foro, el link, ¿ya? Hay un link en un foro, en el único entrada que hay en el foro, Mateo, ahí está el link, ¿ya? Del Ucampus, ¿ya? Ahora, si alguien le quiere mandar el link ahí para que sea más rápido y fácil, pues, ¿ya? ¿Qué más? Eso, como les digo, tienen que organizarse ustedes y después que ya estén más o menos claras cuál es el listado, me lo mandan por favor vía WhatsApp o vía correo, porque yo tengo que mandar y hacer una planilla Excel que yo tengo que mandar a la universidad por tema de trazabilidad, ¿ya? Y esto va a ser, puede ser diario o puede ser semanal. ¿Ya? Yo necesito antes del martes que tener el listado de las personas que van a ir, ¿ya? Porque tengo que mandar digamos, el viernes yo tengo que mandar la planilla para ver si me la aprueban o no, para que yo pueda hacerles clase a ustedes el martes o el viernes, ¿ya? Como les digo, yo puedo ir igual, yo voy a ir, incluso ustedes también, pues ustedes pueden ir a las dependencias y les van a preguntar, ¿para dónde va inglés? ¿Qué tiene? No, atención de estudiantes. Listo, los dejan pasar y todo el tema. Tienen que ir, por favor, llenen las encuestas de trazabilidad de COVID que aparecen siempre, que a veces nadie las pesca, pero son importantes. Ya cuando ustedes entran a un campus siempre hay encuestas, digamos, de COVID y todo el tema para que las llenen. Y para que la universidad tenga registro ustedes también de cuándo van, cuándo no van. Y como les digo, o sea, si ustedes van así nomás al horario que yo les digo, vale, Monse, vale, súper. Si ustedes van al horario que yo estoy ahí, claro, me van a encontrar en la oficina o me mandan un WhatsApp, profe, ¿dónde está? No estoy aquí, no sé, no se puede comer allá, pero estoy aquí en la oficina o estoy aquí sentado así al sol, como a la lagartija, ¿ya? Y claro, o sea, podemos conversar y todo el tema, pero una clase necesitamos organizarla. Ya, yo tengo que mandar la planilla, quiénes son mis estudiantes, cuántos son, 20 10 15 5, ¿ya? ¿Y para qué? Para que me faciliten y me digan, profe, tiene la sala uno tiene la sala 3 disponible de tal hora a tal hora, ¿ya? O simplemente, porque si nos ven ahí, por ejemplo, todos sentados en círculo en un pasto, van a ir a preguntar, hola, ¿quién es usted y qué está haciendo? No, yo soy profe tanto, ¿cierto? Estoy haciendo clases. Ah, ya, pero es porque no tienen la información, pero si mandamos la información, no vamos a estar ok en todo sentido, ¿ya? Eso. ya para que se organicen y me manden el listado de quienes quieren tener clases presenciales la próxima semana, ¿ya? Desde la próxima semana. Esto va a estar pasando hasta que termine el semestre, ¿ya? Pero como les digo, no es obligación. Yo las clases online las voy a hacer igual, ¿ya? Estas mismas clases que hemos estado haciendo ahora van a seguir fijas, ¿ya? Eso. Questions, dudas, preguntas. All right. So, regarding, in this case, the short story, regarding the short story, I'm going to review with you guys the guidelines. Pero no se puede dentro del campus. Así, I'm sorry. Ahora sí en carretera en otro lado. Bueno, y ese ya es otro tema. Está chistoso. Yeah, como les decía, I was talking about the in this case the short story. I'm gonna review with you guys the guidelines. All right. And so the deadline in this case is until the 24th, right? September 24th. So I got some of your short stories. I haven't checked them yet because I'm waiting to gather a good quantity of short stories after the 24th. So I guess I'm going to start correcting the short stories since from Saturday, from this Saturday. All right. It's the short story is 34% of your final grade in this case. And hold on, I'm going to show you the guidelines. Okay. So basically, vamos a repasar un poquito en qué consistía la tarea, ¿cierto? El assessment o la evaluación de la short story. Short story is a piece of prose fiction, basically. And it's a short story that ranges from 500 words in this case. Creo que está por aquí. Sí, aquí está. 500 words to 800 words. So the minimum is 500 words. So the original idea was to create a spin-off based on another story. For example, which story? Edgar Allan Poe's short stories, Ray Bradbury's short stories, or Jack London's short stories, okay? These are suggested, in this case, reading. They were not compulsory, they were suggested. So it means that if you had a different idea, let's say short story based on another piece of writing, you should have let me know, and I can tell you yes or no, but normally I say yes. So some people decided to create their own short story, not based in this case on a specific creative story, right? Like an original story. I think that's okay. I was thinking about that, and I think it's okay. I think it's okay, right? So my point is here in this case is that, can you give me a second? Give me a second. Se despertó mi hija. One moment. Yeah, ahora sí. Yeah, my daughter is up. All right, so I was telling you about the short story. So if you want to create your own short story, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, that was not the original idea, but if you already created something which is original, just go for it. Yeah, I'm not gonna cut you off on this and hinder your creativity. Of course not. So what else? Yeah, the basic structure of the short story is, the outlining in this case. The outlining is start with an interesting title, like big title in this case. Describe the character according to your story. Establish the setting, the plot, and the conflict in the story. Set a clear climax within the story, and conclude with a proper resolution, which is pretty much the structure that I taught you some time ago, like this pyramid that I showed you some time ago, like the exposition, rise in action, climax, fall in action, and the resolution. This is pretty much like the typical structure of any story, right? Of course, you can make some changes, start with the resolution and then do some variations in the story, some plot twists and stuff like that, if you got this time and the space, right? So what else? And what else about the guidelines in this case? No, nothing else. That's it. There are some links for you guys, so there are a lot of suggestions to write your short story in this case. This is creative writing, so you can pretty much, the most important thing is that you have to check the following things in your short story. The grammar is important. This is the rubric, so you gotta double check, triple check the grammar all the time, right? And also the use of vocabulary. Remember to use the proper collocations, the proper vocabulary for the situation in this case. The language can be informal, no problem with that. If you want to use swear language, I think it's okay. Just try to limit the use of swear language. It's a resource actually. Cohesion and coherence in this case, yeah. Like the story to be coherent, but not only in terms of the logical sequence of the story, but at the same time the use of connectors within the text. Mechanics in this case, spelling, capitalization, punctuation. It is also very important, right? And finally, the task achievement in general. If you could achieve the ultimate goal within the story. All right. So this is pretty much 15 points maximum for a 7, and that's it. I don't know if you got any questions about the rubric, about the guidelines, about the short story. Any questions? Any comments? All clear? All good? All right. So remember, the deadline is Friday midnight. Friday midnight. All right. Excellent. What else? In this case, regarding the contents, the last thing that we studied, I remember, was a passive voice. I think that was the last thing. Profe, ya la mandé, me adelanté mucho. Nah, that's okay. The final deadline is the 24th, right? But if you had it clear before that, just, it's okay. You send me the short story, no problem. So we were studying passive voice, and also we were studying contents about I think it was crime and yeah, law and order and crime. We're gonna deal with politics, but not today. I think we should move forward with the grammar, and then maybe tomorrow we can study about politics in this case, because this is gonna be like a hot topic. So regarding the grammar contents, we're gonna be studying today until 11:15. Reflexive and reciprocal pronouns together with intensive pronouns. So these are the typical, reflexive pronouns that you already know. You know that there is a correspondence or a correlation with the personal pronouns, the subject pronouns. I, myself, you, yourself, he, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. You see the correlation in this case. And normally we use this reflexive pronouns to talk about, in this case, the refer to the subject, in this case, which is the same. And also when we want to put emphasis on the subject, and when we want to say that the subject did something alone, and so on, right? Now you can see in this chart the again the correlation or the correspondence with the rest of the pronouns and adjectives. You see, different persons in this case, the object pronouns, possessive adjectives, possessive pronouns, and the reflexive pronouns, right? What else? So we can use reflexive pronouns for emphasis, as I told you. In this case, when we want to put emphasis, there are two ways. One way is do it in this way, doing it in this way. For example, wow, that's a beautiful painting. Who painted it? Actually, I did it myself, right? When you say this, you know, actually I did it myself, it means that you are highlighting the fact that you did it alone, right? Or simply that you did it, not necessarily alone, but you did it. You were the main, in this case, protagonist. In this case, this is stronger than actually I did it. You can say actually I did it. That's it. You know, that's a full and complete idea. But then you add more info. You add this emphasis, which is the reflexive pronoun, and then so you want to, in this case, highlight the fact that you were the author in this case. When a reflexive pronoun is used in this way, it can appear in different places in the sentence. For example, of course, I myself would never do that. So in this case, you are adding, you know, the reflexive pronoun, putting emphasis about the subject, and you can put it in the middle or you can put it at the end. Reflexive pronoun is always stressed if used for emphasis in this case. You can only say, of course, I would never do that. That's it. You know, that's a complete idea. That's a complete story, right? But we use it in this case to emphasize in this case, the protagonist or the subject. What else? Also, we got more uses. Not only the use in this case of of the intensity in this case as an intensive pronoun, right? For example, number one, when we do self-talk, we talk to ourselves. Sarah and Tom talk to themselves in different ways. When we use the reflexive pronoun in this way, we're using it as an object, which is absolutely necessary in the sentence. We cannot get rid of the object, especially when you're using, in this case, transitive verbs. You know that there are transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs, they absolutely need an object. Yeah. Intransitive, in this case, they don't need an object. That's the main difference, right? So when we say, for example, we talk to, we need an object. We cannot just let the verb alone, right? So we need the reflexive pronoun in this case. And same here, Sarah and Tom talk to themselves. We need, in this case, the object, which is themselves, right? Next example, Sarah works out and keeps herself fit. Now, we can see the difference. Work out, in this case, is an intransitive verb. When you say Sarah works out every day, for example, work out is an intransitive verb. We don't need an object, right? Because the idea is, in this case, intact. Sarah works out. That's it. You know, Sarah hace ejercicio. Perfect, right? But when we say Sarah keeps, the idea is incomplete because keep is a transitive verb. we need a transition to the object in this case. What is the object? Herself. Sarah keeps herself fit. All right. We can't say Sarah keeps fit. No, it doesn't make sense. We need the object, which is Sarah keeps herself fit. So in this case, the reflexive pronoun is absolutely essential, right? She tells herself that her problems will get better. Same story in this case. You know, she tells herself we need the object in that case to complete the idea. So in this case, it is called, in this case, the reflexive use. The reflexive use. We got the reflexive use and the intensive use. The reflexive use is this one that I'm telling you, you know, the essential use of the reflexive pronoun. When we talk about the intensive use, we're talking about putting emphasis, right? And in that case, the pronoun, in this case, the intensive pronoun, which is the same, right? Lo mismo que el reflexive pronoun, que decir intensive pronoun, but the difference is that the use. So the intensive use in this case is non-essential, right? Like here, number 3, Tom spends all his time at home by himself. When we add by himself, this is extra info. We don't really need to say by himself, right? Because if we say Tom spends all his time at home, that's it. All right. And by himself is not essential, right? But when we add, for example, by himself, we're adding extra information. We're saying that he's alone, right? Alone at home, right? Firstly. Secondly, for example, in the previous, this one, of course, I myself, it's absolutely putting emphasis. It's the intensive use. Intensive use in this case, or an intensive pronoun also we call it, intensive pronoun, right? Now, there's a slight difference. There's a slight difference when we say, for example, I would never do that myself, and Tom spends all his time at home by himself. What is the difference? They look pretty much similar, but first we're using by. You know, we're using this preposition, and the sense, el sentido. You know, the sense is that you're adding extra information to say that Tom is alone at home, right? You're not saying, for example, Tom himself. That's different. When you say Tom himself, como estoy diciendo el mismísimo Tom himself, right? And that's not the idea, right? It's intensive use, but there's a slight difference. If we go back in this case, you can see here that you can get rid of myself in this example. You keep the meaning, yeah, but you're in this case you're saying yo mismo, yo misma, cierto, mismísimamente. Would never do that, right? Which is different from saying estar solo, sola. Yeah, that's the difference, cierto? Intensive, but different in this case, different sense. Es un sentido diferente, es un significado diferente. Okay. Did you get it? A lo mejor la estoy enredando más todavía, pero I want to know if you got the idea regarding porque está el reflexive, que es esencial de usar el reflexive pronoun como un objeto dentro de la oración. No puedes dejarlo fuera. Ese es el reflexive use. Y en el intensive tenemos, cierto, que, como decir, como el mismísimo no sé cuánto, o la mismísima no sé cuánto, cierto, que uno lo pone al ladito como en este caso, lo puede poner al ladito del sujeto o lo puede poner al final en este caso, pero siempre se refiere al poner énfasis, cierto, en el sujeto. Y tenemos este otro uso que es el by himself, by themselves, que cuando yo le pongo el by, tiene la connotación de que lo hicieron sin ayuda de nadie. All right? You got it? You can type yes or no. O dedito para arriba, dedito para abajo, whatever you want. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yes, says Mateo. All right. What time is it? We can do some exercises in this case. Son las 11:02, sí, tenemos tiempo para hacer exercises. Ya a las 11:30 hay reunión de departamento. Así que vamos a aprovechar de hacer ahí un desayunito cortito después. Entonces, démosle con esto. No creo que alcancemos a ver reciprocal, ¿ya? Si alcanzamos a verlo, bacán. Si no, no. Ya, entonces, exercises. Ya, veamos este. Right. Sí, este era. Ya. Dice, intensive pronoun exercises. Ya te saben que los reflexive e intensive son exactamente los mismos, cambia el uso, ¿no? Entonces, choose the correct intensive pronoun to fill in the blank in each sentence. Dice, number one, esto está agotado de fácil. We built a garden shed. We built a garden shed by myself, ourselves, themselves, himself. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Ya que dice aquí, Tamara dice B, Samuel B, Monse B, Benja B. B, 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 B. All right. I'm going to tell you the right answer at the end, all right? But you said B. We built the garden shed by ourselves. All right. Number two. Jordan made ourselves, yourself, himself, themselves, a sandwich complete with pickles. El pigle with pickles. Sarah Pickles. All right. So Samuel C, Jairo C, Benja C, Monse C, Tamara C. Jordan made himself a sandwich complete with pickles. All right. Interesting. Very well. If you say Jordan made a sandwich, that's perfect idea, you know, complete with pickles. There you go. But in this case, yeah, you're putting himself in this case because we want to put emphasis on that he made a sandwich for himself. That's the idea. What else? Number three, I'm a little nervous about walking by after dark. Myself, ourselves, themselves, herself. La Monse dice, hey, Benja, hey, Jairo, hey, 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 Samuel, hey. Todos dicen, hey, hey. All right, so walking by myself. There you go. 4, the twins are growing up fast. They're already walking by myself, ourselves, himself, themselves. Jairo D, Benja D, Samuel D, Monse D, 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 D. All right, themselves. There you go. And 5, this is Jennifer suit her dress. In myself, himself, ourselves, herself. Samuel D, Benja D, Jairo D. Her dress herself. All right. Let's double check in this case. Dice by ourselves. Jordan made himself. I'm a little nervous about walking by myself. The twins are growing up, walking by themselves. Herself. There you go. Good job. Excellent. Great job. Nicely done. Nicely done. Okay. Next exercise. Dice identify the italicized word as either a reflexive pronoun or an intensive pronoun. We need to choose in this case. Reflexive use or intensive use. O lo mismo que decir reflexive pronoun, intensive pronoun, right? Dice, number 1, Ben built a boat for himself. Is this the reflexive pronoun or a reflexive pronoun or an intensive pronoun? How we can recognize in this case, how we can tell the difference intensive pronoun is non-essential, right? Reflexive pronoun is essential for the meaning, to keep the meaning, to conserve the meaning of the sentence, all right? Or to keep the idea complete. Tamara dice A. La Monse dice A. Think about this. Si tú dices, Ben built a boat for, is that a complete idea? Or is it incomplete? So, all right, it's incomplete, says Monse. So we need to put the reflexive pronoun there, right? That's what you're saying. Ben built a boat for, yeah, we're gonna double check at the end. So you guys said, Tamara Monse said A. Any other opinion? You guys agree? You guys disagree? Because he could make it for anyone. That's true. That's true. I agree. And also, the point is that if you say Ben built a boat for, I mean, we need an object. Himself, or for Johnny, for Sarah, le construyó un bote a alguien. Está bien. We need an object. We need an object, que podría ser cualquier tipo de object, ¿ok? Entonces, pero la pregunta es, ¿cierto? El himself es reflexive or intensive? ¿Ya? Intensive es para poner énfasis. ¿Ya? O para decir que digamos, lo hizo solo, en este caso. ¿Ya? Que no es lo mismo que decir que Ben se hizo un bote, se construyó un bote para él. ¿Ya? Y la Monse dice reflexive. There you go. Thank you. Any other, in this case, opinion, contribution about this? Sí, si no responden, eso me dice de que están medios enredades. O no están enredades. Ya, sigamos viendo. ¿Eh? Number 2 dice, my mother bakes our family's bread herself. My mother bakes our family's bread herself. Reflexive pronoun or intensive pronoun? So we need to think about this. La Monse dice intensive. El Alonso dice be, que es intensive. La Tamara también dice be, Benja, be. Intensive dice la Pola, ¿cierto? El Jairo dice be. All right. So you got it clear. So I assume that maybe it's easier to recognize intensive pronouns in this case. So the point is here that if you say my mother bakes her family's bread and that's it, the idea in this sentence is absolutely complete. It makes sense if you say my mother bakes her family's bread, period. That's it. So everybody understands that. There's nothing missing. Now you're adding more information if you say herself, right? But you're not catching the idea right in the middle. Not like number 1, for example. Number 1, it's pretty much like a limp table, con una mesa que le falta la pata. ¿sí? Number 2 is like a full table with four legs. You know, the point is that you are adding more information in this case, which is herself, right? So you say intensive, and we're gonna check at the end. Number 3, the major herself, es una alcaldesa, the major herself appeared at the rally. So you need to think about this. Think about this. If you say the major appeared at the rally and you get rid of herself, you put it off. Yeah, you take it off. Is it a complete sentence? The major appeared at the rally? Because if the major appeared at the rally is a full sentence in this case, you need to think about this. when you say that this is in this case a reflexive pronoun, the pronoun is absolutely essential. If you say that this is an intensive pronoun, you're saying that this pronoun is not essential, right? Paula says, yeah, the meaning is there. There you go. Thank you, Paula. Samuel said be intensive. Benja dice be. Tamara dice be. Lamonce dice A. Jairo dice B. Lamonce dice B. All right, no problem. So answer key, here we go. Number 1 is reflexive. There you go. Number 2 is intensive, and number 3 is intensive. That's it. Very good job. Nice job, guys. All right. Any questions? Any comments? We're about to finish. We got 3 minutes left. No questions, no comments. Clap, clap. Is it? I mean, so this is crystal clear then, I assume. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. So next class, which is tomorrow, we're gonna be double checking in this case reciprocal pronouns. All right, which are different from reflexive and intensive pronouns. Also, if we got time, we're gonna be dealing with politics, which is gonna be a hot topic, right, for tomorrow. So that's all for today. Thank you for coming to the session, guys. It's always a pleasure to be with you, like virtually. I hope we can meet someday in person. Como ya van como años de pandemia, entonces como que ya si nos conocemos online o en persona, como ya da lo mismo, no sé. Anyway, but I would love to meet you in this case in person, so that we can have like pretty much like a real class. Así que, pero como les digo, hoy en los martes y los viernes voy a empezar un curso, pero el curso va a ser como de 11:30 a 2:30 y creo que va a empezar el próximo mes. Entonces, voy a ver qué días lo voy a hacer. Entonces ahí quizás cambie el horario. Voy a seguir yendo los mismos días, pero a lo mejor no voy a llegar como a las 12, voy a llegar así como a la hora de almuerzo. Así. Entonces, 1:30, así, una cuestión así, seguramente va a llegar a almorzar y después así como ya, cabres, estoy libre, ¿cierto? Hagamos clase. Entonces ahí nos tenemos que coordinar por WhatsApp, ya para decir, profe, está listo, está ready, ¿cierto? Como si ya juntémonos en tal parte dentro del campus o en el departamento y ahí hacemos la clase, ¿ya? O tutoría o como quieran llamarle, ¿vale? Thank you very much, have a great day and see you tomorrow. Bye.
Chao, profe, que esté bien.
Chao, profe.
Bye bye.
Chao,
See ya.
gracias.
You're welcome.